Mario RPGs have been on the decline since 2012. Mario RPG never got a sequel, the studio behind the Mario and Luigi games went bankrupt, and Paper Mario abruptly turned from charismatic classics to soulless disasters? But now there's hope. There's a ray of sunshine that could save us from the dark pit that the Paper Mario franchise has been stuck in, and that ray is Super Mario RPG. We've all seen it by now. A remake of Super Mario RPG is coming to Switch, but what does that mean for the future of Paper Mario? Will the series finally return to its roots? It's about time we get new content from Paper Mario anyways. On average, Paper Mario entries take 4 years to come out. Considering that the Origami King is going to be 3 years old this July, it's safe to say that we're getting a new announcement sometime soon. However, with Nintendo being the king of left field, anything is possible. Either way, it's fair to assume another one is in development because despite how mixed the reception of the previous couple of games have been, Intelligent Systems and Nintendo don't seem ready to abandon the series. I mean, it got a game on the Wii U a year before the Switch released, proving that their faith in that series is immense. However, whether we get a remake or brand new game in 2024 is up in the air. Many current Paper Mario fans have only ever played the newer trilogy and have never experienced the games that are overwhelmingly liked better in the Paper Mario community. Nintendo releasing this collection on the Switch would give these people the opportunity to easily play these games without having to buy an older console and these games individually. As for how this collection would work, I have quite a few ideas for it. The first and most obvious one is to have a menu screen similar to 3D All-Stars where they have the games listed as well as soundtracks. Then for the games themselves, they all still look decent today. Even the original, which came out 20 years ago, doesn't look bad today with its stylized graphics. All Nintendo would really need to do is up the resolution and add some textures. While this is the least amount they could do, it's fun to speculate about what else they would add. Let's start off with Super Paper Mario. Since it has motion controls, it could be easily mapped to any of the Switch controllers like Galaxy. Like when you are pointing at the screen to get Tippy to tell you about something, you could use either the other analog stick or move your controller. With Thousand Year Door in the original as well as Super again, there isn't as much they would need to change, but I definitely think that an option to skip cutscenes should be added. These games have long openings. I've seen Super's opening probably 100 times, and I really just want to be able to skip it. I like to try and speedrun it, but it gets annoying when each time I have to go through like 7 minutes of text before I really do anything, so an option to skip would be nice. Now another feature I would love to have but would be highly unlikely, possibly due to licensing issues, would be to include Super Mario RPG there as well. It was included on the SNES Classic a couple years ago and also on the Wii U Virtual Console, so it's not like difficult to find, but to include it on the Switch as well in this collection would be a nice bonus and also give younger fans more of a reason to play the game that inspired the Paper Mario series. As I said before with licensing, it was made by Square, so Nintendo would have to work out a deal with them, which I just don't think they would do for this. They even took Geno out of the Superstar Saga remake, most likely due to the sole reason of licensing. This is highly unlikely, but Nintendo can't stop us from speculating. I do believe sometime in the next year or two we could very well get Paper Mario All-Stars. I think this may be something Nintendo realizes could make them a lot of money if they keep making these All-Star collections. So we just need to see if Mario is willing to bring back the old Paper Mario games. One last thing I wanted to talk about, which is an argument against this happening, is that some people at Nintendo, not just Miyamoto, have told Intelligent Systems to be less unique and only include characters that are already in the Mario universe. Does this just apply to new games, or does Nintendo hate unique characters and their environments and stories so much that they would just never remaster them solely for that reason? I sure hope not. I really hope this collection ends up happening. Not just for me. I mean, I already have all 3 games, but I would still get this collection, but also for some of the younger fans that love to get into arguments online about how anyone that even remotely enjoys the original trilogy better than the newer games, they must be blinded by nostalgia. And even for the younger fans that aren't toxic like this and really want to get into the rest of the series, but aren't currently able to due to them not having consoles to play the games on. Nintendo could literally make individual remakes of these 3 games and sell them at $60 each, and people would buy them. They would be stupid to not even consider making this. But Nintendo has made plenty of questionable decisions before, like with continuing to sticker star formula, while most of the fanbase has been asking for more of an RPG. So at this point, we can only hope for the best. It's possible that Nintendo's waiting to see the sales numbers on Super Mario RPG before releasing any Paper Mario remakes, which would be useful information to know if they're contemplating the direction of the series from here on out. Of course, Nintendo could just make a brand new Thousand Year Door-esque Paper Mario game right now, but that would be awfully risky, especially for a big new first-party game. Yes, there's a die-hard fanbase for it, but that fanbase only makes a small percentage of Nintendo's audience. Most of their new fans are kids and young adults brought in by the Switch, and they need to make sure people are interested in a traditional RPG style of game. So what better way to test the waters than with a low-budget, simple beloved remake? Now, why not just remake Paper Mario 64? That game has more complicated mechanics that would be harder to remake, plus there is an extremely critical fan base behind it. If Nintendo plans on rebranding the franchise anytime soon, the last thing they want is ill will towards it. Better to start with Mario RPG and reevaluate things from there. Perhaps after that, they'll consider re-releasing that trilogy in an All-Stars pack, followed by a change to the series altogether. Either way, the better Mario RPG does, the better it'll be for Paper Mario. That is, if you're a fan of the classics, of course. If Mario RPG sells well, Nintendo will see that there's an audience for this genre and make efforts to bring back the old games. But Nintendo might even scrap those remakes altogether and bring us the Paper Mario 7 we've been longing for, right? The plot of Paper Mario 7 is one of the most unpredictable parts about it. Surely, Nintendo is aware of the divide in the franchise by now, which leaves them with two options. They can either decide to stick to their guns and create more games with lackluster plots akin to that of Sticker Star and Color Splash, or they could side with the Thousand Year Door fans. Following their return to Super Mario RPG, it makes sense to expect Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario type of stories. The kind of epic fantasy story that fits the idea of a classic RPG with good characters, suspense, and an interesting lore, mixed with that classic Paper Mario charm, of course. Speaking of characters, what is to be said of them in Paper Mario 7? Well, in an interview with Kensuke Tanabe, game designer for the Origami King, he stated, "From the production of Paper Mario Sticker Star onwards, we were no longer able to graphically represent individual characteristics, such as age, gender, etc., in the Toad non-playable characters, and so it has become that much more important to convey their personalities simply through text. Our writer, Mr. Taro Kudo, has been grappling with this difficult challenge since Paper Mario Sticker Star, but has managed to achieve giving all the text a sense of humor. In this installment, Paper Mario, the Origami King, we were able to include some toads wearing an outfit to match their role, and also created original origami characters. The Origami King pushes these limits to their max, with Ollie and Olivia being outside of the Super Mario world, having toads with unique outfits and witty dialogue, and having a pretty solid story compared to the previous two entries. However, the developers were given more freedom than with Sticker Star and Color Splash, which gives hope that the future will be even brighter, especially considering Super Mario RPG HD with a character-rich world. As for the gameplay, I want to look at this subjectively for a second. I would like to see the battle system go back to that classic turn-based horizontal view system of the first two games. Something that's simple, maybe even cliche, but something that works. Bring back badges too. Those were cool. Alternatively, it would be very interesting to see them cross 2D and 3D mechanics of Super Paper Mario and have them expanded upon even further. It's easy for me to give my opinions on where I'd like the franchise to be headed, but looking at the next entry objectively is much harder. Of all the components of Paper Mario 7, the gameplay is definitely the one that's the most unpredictable. Not long after the Origami King's release, Tanabe said that striving to find new and innovative systems is the foundation of the philosophy my team and I are following when developing games. As such, I think it's a necessity that the combat system changes in every game. Due to this, it is obvious that the next game will have a combat system different from any previous game. The combat system will still be turn-based with a new spin on it, like with Origami King. As true with most Paper Mario games, once Mario reaches the enemy, there will likely be the basic hammer boot attack. Aside from that though, it is up in the air what they will replace the ring puzzle system with. If I had to guess, I would say the next combat system continues with puzzles, this time in a new light. It's hard to say exactly what this new combat system will look like, but if you watch the future of Paper Mario, you would know that I'd love to see a new combat system centered around mind controlling your enemies. For now, we can only hope that Super Mario RPG is a strategic move to bring the classic turn-based style back to the modern era. And now, the biggest thing that's been missing from this series since the Thousand Year Door partners, Origami King kinda brought them back, but except for Olivia, they were temporary and had pretty simple designs. I'm talking about full-blown partners who stay with Mario for the whole game. Bringing them back would also help boost the story since they could be the good characters with interesting arcs that I've mentioned before. Now, don't I essentially just want the Thousand Year Door? Yeah, kind of. Paper Mario did something that many series don't really tend to do, and that's change the formula of the series with pretty much every new entry. Now, that's admirable in a sense, but I think that after 4 games, it would be nice to return to the roots of the series. Make a game that celebrates what made Paper Mario such a beloved franchise in the first place. Add in things they wish they could have implemented in the past, refine the things that they did implement. I don't know, am I just a nostalgia baby? Why yes, how could you tell? More seriously though, I do find it admirable that Intelligent Systems didn't want the series to stagnate and decided to innovate every chance they got, but I think it's also alright once in a while to dabble in that nostalgia a bit and sort of go back to your roots.